Hello everyone, this is Seah once again. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to do something really interesting. I'm not too sure if anyone has done it before. You may have an espresso machine. You may want to do V60, but you may not want to get a kettle. But can you still make a good filter coffee using your espresso machine? Let's find out. Alright, so today let's see my setup. I'm using the Gemilai 3007Z. As you can see, I have a filter set up below with a very nice clearance. The group head is almost touching the V60 funnel, and I'm still able to have a scale below, but of course I need to remove the drip tray. And the trouble is we have some water, dripping out from the back, but that's fine, we can clear it later. But let's see whether we can make good coffee for this. And you can see now I've set my brew temperature to 98 degrees Celsius. And then first, before we start, I'm going to test the brew rate, the flow rate of this machine at full pump pressure. And then we will try to make 2 cups of coffee. One probably it's with some pre-infusion. Let's see whether it makes any difference. And then the one with a straight 9 bar. It doesn't affect the extractions, but I'm not too sure the the straight 9 bar or the amount of water that gush out versus if I do a very long pause of pre-infusion at maybe 30 seconds, imitating the blooming, and that could actually work. So let's find out. Before we start, we have to adjust the pre-infusion setting. Right, and the idea is very simple. I want to imitate the blooming time, and I will be using about 18 grams of coffee, and which means my brew ratio I'm going to hit about 300 grams, which is about 1:16.6. And then I want to use about 50 grams of water for blooming. So I want to set up my pre-infusion settings so that within a certain time it will give me that amount in about 30 seconds. So let's see whether we can achieve that. So let's adjust the pre-infusion setting, which is by pressing the minus button. Alright, P1 is the pre-infusion we pump on. I think currently we are setting at 3, so let's maybe pump up to 5 and give it a try. So this means the water, the pump will be switched on for 5 seconds to pre-infuse the water. And then I want to elongate my P2, right? Which means we have to adjust P2 to about 25 seconds. So let's do that, see whether it's capable of doing that. Okay, maximum for P is only 10 seconds, which means to say I can only do a maximum of 15 seconds. And anyway, let's test out to see whether this is possible and how much water are we getting. So let's switch on to the time as well. Right, so I'm going to switch on the pre-infusion setting button and see how it goes. So you can see it continue to trickle. We should hit 15 seconds. Alright, it's about 47-ish grams, which means if I push the pre-infusion setting to 6 seconds, I probably can hit 50 grams in about 30 seconds. So let's do that. Okay, so that's the setting we're going to go for. Let's pour this water away. Give it a try. Alright, one more time. Okay, you can see the water continue to trickle down. I'm still not hitting the amount I want, which means I still have to increase my P1 by maybe 2 seconds. Let's give it a try. Alright, let's keep it at 8 seconds and see how it goes. Alright, so now let's do a test. Okay, second pre-infusion done. We are getting about 35 grams of water. Okay, so about 18 seconds later, I'm getting about 57 grams of water. So that should be good. And then let's see how long do we need to get about 300 grams of water. So I'm going to pour this away. Okay, I'm not too sure whether my cup... oh yeah, by the way, I need to weigh the coffee first. Which means considering the coffee weighs about... Okay, never mind. Let's just see how long it takes for us to get 300 grams of water. But I think this cup may be a little bit too small. So let's see how it goes. So pre-infusion set on for 8 seconds. We should stop. Trickle for another 10 seconds. This will imitate the fact that I'm trying to do blooming. Right, 90 seconds later, the water continues to flow. Okay, because right now I'm set to 30 seconds. So you can see about 30 seconds I'm getting about 100 grams of water, including the pre-infusion. So let's just jump straight to the filter coffee, and then we're going to compare whether our traditional brew with a kettle and then brew with the machines, the 3007Z from Gemilai, and see which coffee actually tastes better. Alright, before that, let's grind 18 grams of coffee, and the coffee we're going to use today is actually the medium light roast from this, I believe, is from Nicaragua. Which is an anaerobic natural processed coffee. It's a geisha. So let's see how this one tastes, comparing the machine versus our manual brew. Right, so I will be using my DF64 grinder with SSB Casper. So let's measure the coffee. I will be grinding slightly on the coarser side on the SSB Burr's SSB Casper. On the DF64 is about 55 grind setting. This figure is not important to you because you may use your own grind setting which to your preference. Right, so I'm going to just quickly grind out about 18 grams of coffee, and I'm going to do 2 doses. So that's 18.1. Okay, I forgot to turn on the power. Just give me a moment. That's the first one. By the way, this is my DF64 Gen 1. Still works very well. I love this grinder a lot. Especially with the burrs inside. Coffee looks fantastic, smells amazing. So now the final step is actually to brew coffee with the machine. So let's give it a try. So I have already prepped my V60 funnel, right? I'm using the CT60 I think it's CT62, right? And I will be I'll be using the water here to actually heat up my funnel. Later I'll bring you closer to see if I can get a glimpse of how the coffee wet the coffee pot. Right, I think that should be enough. Alright, let's pour the water away. Alright, let's pour the coffee inside. Make sure it's level. Okay, it's a little bit wet because it still continues to drip. Let me just dry it. Okay, put the scale on because we need to monitor both the time and the weight of the water that's coming out. It will fit very snugly, right? In fact, I can see that there's no more room, right? So I probably can't take a video of how the water dispenses into the coffee unless I can find a slightly shorter cup server. But I'm just going to continue, right? So first of all, because this one I want to let it last longer, so I'm going to press and hold the button. I'll be using the timer here. Right, you can see the pump off for another 10 seconds. Okay, I'm hitting about 52 grams at about 18 seconds. The water continues. So I'm just going to let it continue to fill up the water until it hits about 300 grams of water. I can actually imitate the flow. So now I can stop it, right? Because I want to imitate the the 3-pour ratio, so 50 grams of bloom, but I let it continue to go all the way up because of the pause in between. After I hear that the water is stopped trickling, I'm going to press the button again. This will bring the pump to about 9 bar and push out water quickly. So I'm going to monitor the weight of the water that's coming out until it hit about 210 grams of water. Stop. Right, so that's about 210, and I'm gonna continue to let the water settle down. I should have started the timer here, but that's fine. Most important is still the taste. And finally, let's continue for the last part. Until you hit about 300 grams of water. Okay, it's about 299.5 grams of water, so that will be what I'm aiming for. So let's start the kettle and brew the second cup of coffee. Of course, the temperature will be slightly different because the hand brew, the manual hand brew, is actually brewed slightly later. Yeah, but the temperature should drop maybe around 10 degrees Celsius after I finish making this. So let's quickly start the kettle. Right, and I have to bring the temperature up to 98 as well. So let's bring the temperature up because I'm using a 98 degrees Celsius. Right, let's start the kettle to boil, and then now let's remove this. Okay, take a look at the bed. Oh, you can see I have no chance to agitate it, so you can see the top here. Probably there are some, I can see most of the coffee are soaked except at the side. Yeah, but anyway, so this is how it looks like when you do a V60 over your espresso machines. Right, so now let's go to the hand brew. We'll be using an exact same filter paper. I'm going to leave this at the side so that we can do a comparison later. Where's my cup? Okay, cup is here. Let's just do it there. Okay, now let's rinse this out. Okay, let's take out another filter paper. Right, I'm going to wet the filter paper so that the filter paper can adhere 100% to the wall. This is a CT62, which is a very low bypass kind of dripper. Right, so you can see the filter paper is almost 100% aligned to the wall, stick onto the wall. Right, let's take out another. Keep this at the side. Okay, let's pour the coffee in. Right, and then we're going to do the usual manual V60 hand pour over the kettle. Right, let's wait for the temperature to be steady at 98 degrees. So this is going to be interesting because can you make a good filter coffee using an espresso machine? So I'm really excited to find out. The water is almost brought up to the point of boiling. So because this is a medium light roast, I want to brew at a higher temperature. Okay, so let's start. Same thing, I'm going to brew about 50 grams of water for the stage 1 blooming. By doing the hand pour, I can totally saturate the entire water bed. Let me bring you closer to see it. Right, it's totally different. You can have precise control. And then at the same time, putting the kettle back to maintain the temperature at 98, because that's how the espresso machine actually maintain the heat, which is PID. So now second stage, I'm going to continue to pour. Right, the second one will be all the way until 120 grams of water. Okay, let's top up to 210. Oops, almost knocked into the other server. Right, finally I'll be doing the last stage all the way to 300 grams of water. So you can see now the brew is almost 2 minutes. Okay, so now let's do the last stage. Okay, that's about 300 grams of water, slightly more than the previous one. And now is the most exciting time. So let's compare the taste. Okay, you can see that's the bed, not exactly level because my final pour is at the center. I didn't go around to level it. Okay, so let's give it a try. This is very hot, so let's try the first one to see how the taste is like. So now let's try the first one, which is brewed by Gemilai 3007Z. Give it a smell first. Okay, let's smell the second one. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Because the two beakers are slightly different in shape, the width is also slightly different. Okay, I feel that the hand brew smell better, right? Anyway, let's try the taste, right? See whether does it taste better with manual hand brew or the machine actually can make it. So let's try. Right, cheers. Whoa! It's very juicy and it's very sweet. This is the coffee that I like. The tangerine acidity is definitely there. Oh my god, the candlelight sweetness is popping. Okay, I will not lie to you. I will get my elder son to come here and taste the coffee, and then he will tell you whether it is the same feeling as mine, right? So I'm going to fill this up. Right, let's now try the second cup. This is the one with manual hand brew. Obviously it's slightly hotter, but let's just give it a try. This is really interesting. Smell better. Taste is very similar. In fact, this is really interesting. This tastes sweeter. Maybe because this is hotter. This one is hotter on the hand brew as compared to this, so I can taste more flavor to it. So let me get my son here, right, to see whether he can tell the difference between the two. Okay, Hong Rui, come. You do not know which one is better, so you're gonna taste. Okay. Is it a good filter coffee? Okay. Does it taste nice? Okay, now you try this one. Which one tastes better? The first cup or the second cup? This cup. You like the hand brew better. Why do you find that it's better?
A different taste.
Different taste. How different is the taste?
A bit acidic.
A bit more acidic. This one is a little bit sweeter. Oh, this one is more acidic. This one is sweeter.
No.
Which one? Sweetness level? This one is sweeter. Okay. To my tongue, this is sweeter. Right, come, Zui. Now your turn.
I don't know how to taste coffee.
Yeah, never mind. You do not know how to taste coffee, but you try.
So hot.
It's not very hot. Okay, this one is hotter. Huh? Which one tastes better? The green cup or the brown cup?
Green.
Green cup. Okay, thank you. So this is really very interesting. The first one doesn't require any skill. You just grind the coffee, set the pre-infusion on the machine, and then you press and go until 300. You can even program to do a filtered coffee for you, right? Just press and let go, because you know exactly roughly how much water is going to dispense over a certain time. So let me do a final taste test between the two, right? Because I think let me top up the green one a little bit more. That's the first one, right? Because I want it to be around the same temperature as the second one, so that I can taste fairly. It is true that this one is more acidic, but this one has more flavor to it. I like the sweetness here better. This one is less acidic, but it has more sweetness. This one has higher acidity, but less sweetness. This is interesting, right? So give it a try, right? If you have an espresso machine and you are able to do your pre-infusion, right, why not give it a try? Maybe your espresso machine can make a very good filter coffee, better than your hand brew. You never know. So give it a try. Let me know in the comment section down below and what you think about this method. Do you think you will try it? If you tried it, please share what you think about it. Does it make any difference? Does it make a better coffee, or does it make a more lousy coffee as compared to your hand V60, manual hand V60. So this is CY once again, thanks for joining me. This is just something that's crazy. When one of my viewers suggested I try a funnel shape basket from AliExpress. I have yet to see the kind of funnel shape which allows you to do something similar to V60 brew over your espresso machines. I know there is a special polyfilter designed for brewing of tea over espresso machines, but I've not seen something that allows you to brew the V60 style coffee using espresso. So this is the closest I can get, because I'm not using a filter basket. I'm actually using a standard, you know, V60 funnel. In this case, it's the CT62, and then a standard server, and then let's just play around with the water ratio and the temperature. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'll see you very soon in the next one.